Indiana State football fall camp coverage is brought to you by U.S. Lawn, the official lawn care provider of Sycamore Athletics.
Good. Yep, we're good to go. All righty, Coach Young, your group, Petey kind of leading the way. They're at the top, but you have a lot of guys in there that maybe don't necessarily have game experience, but seems like brings a lot to your room. What's the biggest thing you found out about your group through fall camp?
It's been great to get obviously a lot of guys repped. I think there's five groups or five running backs that I think they can really run. You've got Petey, Matt Sora, Justin Dinka, Derek McLaughlin, and Dawson Basinger. So, we got a lot of those guys in spring taking a lot of reps. So, obviously we've been off for the last year and a half, but those guys can really play. So we're going to be really deep in the running back room this year. So,
where's Petey grown the most, specifically over the last year, and how he's utilized this time to his benefit?
I think we had time to kind of slow him down. Petey has some great strengths in terms of his speed and his quick twitch, but really just in the run game, slowing him down, slowing his patience down, and on some of the run game stuff. Really, he's gotten better at that, and I'd say also protection. He has a bigger, larger understanding of what we're trying to do, full picture with the pass game, protections, run action type of stuff. So I think he's grown in that area along with his leadership as well. So.
I know with Matt and Dawson, both have kind of been nicked up from time to time in camp, so getting them healthy and getting them reps has been important. But when those guys have been in there, what are their biggest attributes that you like what they bring to be able to push a guy like Petey?
I think with Matt and Dawson, both of them bring a level of physicality. And really, I tell my guys all the time, like, we're going to lean on the running back room to run the ball. So we're going to carry the ball, 40 plus times a game. So we need those guys within the tackles to be physical, running the football, whether it be tight zone, power, counter, whatever the case may be. We're going to do some things in the run game where it takes a great amount of physicality. And with those two guys, it kind of brings a different taste than Petey and Justin Dinka, with more speed. So with Matt, Dawson, and Derek, a lot more physicality in the run game with those three.
Dinka, told us the other night, he looked up Indiana State highlights and was like, man, I really want to go there. It's a powerful running team. Since he's been here, what's been his biggest addition outside of his speed? What has been the biggest addition for a guy like Justin Dinka?
Obviously speed is one thing he has, but he really has a good feel for catching the football. I mean, he's got really good ball skills, so we're able to use him in the run game. He's there in protection as well. He's getting to know that stuff just as well as the run game, and then also pass game as well. So whenever we get the back out of the backfield for release routes or something like that, he's one of those guys that can do that, and they all can. But with Petey and Justin, using their strengths, the pass game is one of those areas where we can use both of them too.
Derek is a guy who I feel like has grown in the weight room over the last year, but also he's had to rehab from an injury. How's Derek's progression been from last year? Kind of getting a pretty good amount of reps in your fall practices, getting hurt, and then now working his way back to hopefully full strength.
Yeah, Derek is one of those guys where, whether it's in the weight room or practice, he's going to practice and lift really, really hard. So, it was almost like he didn't skip a beat when he came back out from injury. When he started practicing again in the fall or in really the spring, once he got hurt and then came back in camp, it was like he hadn't missed a beat. So, mentally he's there, physically he's there, he's back to where he was in the spring. So I'm excited to see him play and see him do some things out there because, he practices really hard, and those are the guys that can get the most out of practice going into the game.
We were talking about it actually very early in fall camp. He came out to me and said, Luke, Petey's really one of the few guys that has in-game reps.
Yeah.
Despite maybe in-game experience lacking, what has you most optimistic after fall camp for what all 9 guys that you use, even kind of a guy like Wyatt Harwood, who I know is there from an emergency standpoint, but where do you feel that, man, you could have a really good room because you've obviously been here when you had Jaquan Keys, Christian Covington, and Titus McCoy. And when you have the more guys, the better. It can be a really dangerous combination.
Yeah, I think even though we haven't had a lot of game experience within the room, I told my guys, we were 30 days out and we had 3 touchdowns to our name in the room, and it was all Petey from last year. So that's not a lot of touches in the end zone. But they've all been here to see guys like Jaquan Keys and Lamont Booker do it and score and run for a lot of yards. So they know the example, and now we're just going to keep working hard to lift the bar higher and higher. So that's the deep group we have, and they've seen it for 2 years now. So it'll be there.
You've been through camp multiple different ways. You've been through camp as a player. You've been through camp as a coach being single. Now you've been through camp being married. What's it like going through a fall camp being married?
It's crazy. It's the first couple weekends Brooke left, she went home, and I told her, you know what, this is the schedule, and she understands that. So, it's just a time where I can get close with my players, and really I see them more than I do her most of the days. So if I'm not at the office, then I'm in a meeting, or I'm at the practice field with my guys. So, it's one of those times where you kind of just get close to some other people, and but she understands, and it's a little bit crazy, but it's going well.